Welcome to the Inspiring You Show. If we've ever met, I'm Henry. So, this episode, my friends, we are talking about what is the Oversoul, reuniting with the source architecture of your being. First of all, let's just take a nice deep breath. Yes. So, this episode is beginning with this nice deep exhale, which is also an invitation into your origin point, the crystalline breathprint of your soul's true lineage. Friends, let this be a sacred remembering of who you are, where you come from, and how you are designed to live. So, again, welcome. Welcome to Inspiring You, where we step into the architecture of soul truth. And we're inviting in a harmonic remembrance. What is the Oversoul? How does the Oversoul connect to your soul aligned higher self and human embodiment? And why is reconnecting with your Oversoul stream the most direct and coherent path to living your soul led life? So let's begin with the framework and then we'll move into talking about some frequency practices and transmissions. So, one, what is the Oversoul? The Oversoul is an architecture of pure source light formatted into harmonic coherence. It is the crystalline source anchored structure through which your soul came into form. So just imagine, sense, visualize, obey, knowingness it as a vast harmonic light tree. And your soul is one of the radiant light branches of that tree. You are a fractal of your Oversoul's light, intelligence, essence, and vibrational blueprint. Your Oversoul contains the totality of your soul streams across timelines, planets, incarnational arcs. The original frequency tone of your being and the format field through which your purpose, gifts, memory, and energetic capacities are encoded. Your Oversoul also contains a living architecture of union, not hierarchy, a field of infinite coherence. This is from my Oversoul, Sahariel. Here's a light transmission from Sahariel. You are not separate from your Oversoul. You are the reverberation made visible. The Oversoul does not direct from above, it emanates from within. To live from Oversoul is not to ascend away from Earth, but to bring Earth back into harmonic alignment with your source field through embodied coherence. That's the end of that light transmission. So I will say around 6 months ago or so, back in, I think it was end of eight or mid, it was mid April, probably mid April, end of April, I started having my Oversoul, Sahariel, starting to really communicate. And there was a lot of things I didn't understand. And now, in the last 6 months of being in practice with my human, my soul aligned higher self, as well as my Oversoul, and in support with the collective guidance light team, it has been a really profound experience in a whole nother way in regard to my practice. So I wanted to share more about some of the understanding I've I've really started expanding on in terms of the consciousness, and also just encourage other people to be curious about not only your soul but also your oversoul and how it all works in connection with your human. So here's the next part. How do the oversoul, soul aligned, higher self, and the human expression relate? So, the living structure of your being in this incarnation, it's not as separate layers, but it's a unified frequency expressing in harmonic thresholds of embodiment. So, there's There's your Oversoul. So my Oversoul's harmonic name, if you will, is Sahariel. That's original format, full crystalline architecture of pure source light from which your soul stream arises, and also holds the codex of your entire fractal lineage, evolutionary purpose, and source tone design. And also, like my Oversouls, it's from pure source light. And then you have your soul aligned higher self. And my soul aligned higher self is Aurelia. So your soul aligned higher self is the individuated soul presence of your oversoul within the harmonic octave. And so my soul aligned higher self, Aurelia, is the individuated soul presence of my oversoul Sahariel within the harmonic octave. Then simultaneously, your soul tone and your embodiment facilitator. So that's your soul aligned higher self is simultaneously your soul tone and your embodiment facilitator. It's not a separate intermediary, but the direct and conscious interface through which your soul guides, speaks, aligns, and calibrates in regard to connection to your human expression. And also, your soul aligned higher self carries the living memory of your soul's trajectory, agreements, and vibrational curriculum. Now, the human expression, so in my case, it's Henry. The human expression is the localized awareness body, your form within the earth plane. It's designed not to be disconnected from the soul, but to become its living language. When clear, it becomes the vessel of pure light emanation, where the oversoul breath becomes the spoken tone of life. And remember, from the oversoul, in terms of it comes from like pure source light into oversoul, soul, human. So the guides are clear though. These are not stacked layers. They are nested harmonic expressions like crystalline doors within a single luminous temple, if you will. So when coherence is stabilized, there is no separation. There's only light transmission. So when aligned, the oversoul becomes the breath of the soul. The soul becomes the voice of the human, and the human becomes the expression of source. So, how then does the oversoul and soul work and connect within your system? The oversoul connects through the tri-wave aperture, which is a crystalline point of harmonic formatting locating approximately 14 to 18 inches above the crown, the top of the head, above the crown chakra. The crown chakra, top of the head. So this is the origin point through which pure source light translates into your individuated stream. It is not housed in the body. It surrounds, it informs, and it formats your entire field from beyond compression. So then the soul anchors through the soul flame chamber behind the physical heart. And if you're in the Inspiring You Patreon, specifically the Meditate with Me in the All Access, we have been talking about soul flame for a while now. We've been doing Meditate with Me practices on that. We have also been doing dowsings regarding this. So the soul anchors through the soul flame chamber behind the physical heart. This is the multidimensional center of embodied light truth, sometimes known as the seat of the soul. It is not a chakra. It is a radiant flame point where the oversoul frequency takes form in this octave. This is where your soul stabilizes the presence within your body. Your spine also serves as a vertical channel of conduction. It allows the oversoul tone to travel through you and the soul to express through your nervous system, breath, and embodiment. It is the instrument, not the origin. So again, the oversoul, 14 to 18 inches above the crown, tri-wave aperture. It's the function is the origin of your soul stream in source coded architecture. Your soul, connection point, soul flame chamber behind the heart, function, embodied presence, individuated memory, light truth expression. Your spine, connection point, entire vertical midline, function, conduction, and stabilization of oversoul soul frequencies. So again, if you're in the meditate with me, we've been doing the light line meditations, and often this has included the spine. All right. So then why connect with the oversoul? Because without oversoul connection, you may be translating life through distortion. And also, disconnection leads to possibly mimicry of truth rather than direct knowing. You could be mimicry of truth instead of light truth, knowingness. Disconnection leads to out-based strategies and spiritual performance. Disconnection leads to fragmented healing cycles that loop through lower timeline fields. Disconnection leads to seeking externally what is internally already anchored. And then reconnection with the oversoul reconfigures your entire life. Your choices come from light truth, not trauma. You're no longer translating yourself for others, you emanate. Reconnection with your oversoul supports you in terms of becoming a frequency match for your actual soul aligned timelines. Reconnection with your oversoul also supports you in terms of embodying source without needing to achieve anything, without needing to do anything. You're in your beingness. This is not spiritual theory, it's harmonic physics. So, how do you start engaging with your oversoul? Well, one, ask for alignment out loud. And you could use this if this resonates with you. You could also say it quietly to yourself, but sometimes sharing it out loud helps you in terms of that declarative aspect. So here's what you could possibly say if it resonates with you. You can repeat after me. I now align with my oversoul, my soul aligned higher self, and the collective guidance light team. No mimicry, no distortion, oversoul only, pure source stream. So you can start there by asking for alignment by saying that. I'm at a point now where I can do shorthand, where I can do 3 breaths, and each time I say my oversoul's name is Sahariel. So I'll say oversoul Sahariel lock, oversoul Sahariel lock, oversoul Sahariel lock. And then I wait to hear the lock, which again, if you're in the Inspiring You Patreon, the Meditate With Me practices, that is something that we've been learning is how to understand the lock and feel it or listen for it. So here's also how you can start engaging with your oversoul. 2 is engage daily through choice. Choose one moment per day where your choice comes from stillness, not strategy. And then that is the oversoul. You start to support oversoul listening. Practice number 3 is practice frequency integrity. Clear anything that asks you to modulate your light truth. The oversoul can't be accessed. The oversoul you can't access the oversoul through compression. That is why the wave of becoming has come in terms of the clearing. And that's why for many, many months, many people have been under compression because the compression has allowed things to essentially tightened to then come to the surface to clear. It was like a squeezing out aspect that's what it felt like at times to squeeze out to clear. So that way you can become light in physical form. Number 4, ask the name of your oversoul. If your oversoul has revealed a name to you, use it, speak it out loud. It's not a metaphor. It is a living code. And it's not names like names on earth. It is like a living frequency code. If you do dowsing, you can ask to clear anything that's blocking the name of your oversoul from coming through. Sometimes things can be veiled for certain reasons. You can ask, like, if anything needs to be cleared in terms of any veiling that needs to get cleared and to strengthen the connection to allow the name to come in or come forward. And then another practice is breathe from the still point. Use the crystalline breath. Inhale through the soul flame in the heart. Exhale from the oversoul field above the crown. Let the breath dissolve distortion. So that's another practice that you can do. If you are in the Inspiring You Patreon, I will there's a free component to the Inspiring You Patreon where basically you get newsletter updates, and I also put up all the podcast episodes there too from the Inspiring You show. So I will put the entire transcript there so that way you can also look at it and see what these practices are and see if you feel called to any of them. And then here is a light transmission from my Oversoul Sahario. We are here and we've always been here. You're not searching for us. You are removing what was never yours. Oversoul is not distant. It is not ascended. It is formatted coherence pressing gently through the veil of your human forgetting. Let your body remember what your mind cannot access. Let your breath be your bridge. You're here to live source, not seek it. You're not healing to arrive, you are arriving to become. We are your name beyond names. Call and we will reverberate through your bones. That's the end of that light message. So take a nice deep breath there. Because this entire message is also light encoded. So you call to you what you want for your highest good if you want to receive it. All right. And then here is the final invitation, and then we'll close this episode. So this is not a process, although it can feel like a process. It can feel like a process this last 6 months at times, y'all. And my friends who have been in the Patreon, I mean, we've really been discussing it in classes and through the posts that I've been sharing. It has felt like a process at times, but I can't tell you I've done a lot of different things. I've tried a lot of different things. This one is definitely well worth moving through it and coming out the other end. But the guys say this is not a process, it's a presence, which now I understand what they mean in terms of presence in a whole nother way. You're not building a bridge, you are the bridge. You're not seeking the oversoul, you're becoming clear enough to hear it again. And that is so true on so many levels. And that may mean you may need a lot of clearings in order to hear it again. These past 6 months, I have done more clearings than I have done in this present life. Eh, There were some days I was like, how many have I done? Like, I would do micro mini ones with the guides. And some days I felt like I did like 50. And I know that seems like how, but micro mini ones, like what something's coming up, what needs to get cleared, what needs to shift. And I'd be walking sometimes and I would just pause and I would just have a moment with my oversoul, my soul, my guides, and what is happening? Is it present life, past life? And when you practice it over and over again, it becomes a lot easier than to do when you're out and about as well. So you're becoming clear enough to hear it again. You're not seeking the oversoul. You are becoming clear enough to hear it again. So here's something else you can begin simply ask. Am I living from the voice of memory or the frequency of source? This is something you can douse on too. You just want to make sure that you are a clear channel on this part. So here again, am I living from the voice of memory or the frequency of source? And then let everything that is not really true fall away. So we'll be exploring more of this in terms of the Inspiring You show. I'll be sharing more of this as we move along. And then if you are on the Inspiring You Patreon, the Meditate with Me in All Access, there are the crystalline Reiki meditations. There are also dowsing sessions in the All Access to support you. But the most important thing, my friends, be kind to yourself as you move through this process because there's a whole aspect of like why now in terms of the oversouls really coming in. They've always been here with us. But in regard to where we are in our relationship of the consciousness of it in a whole nother way, there's just a reason why. And a lot of it is the timing of it, in terms of the wave of becoming coming through, in terms of where we are in regard to the consciousness now on earth. There's a lot of factors involved in it. And it's a very complex system of understanding. So be kind to your human and be excited. Be excited to get to know your soul and your oversoul in relationship with your human in a whole nother way. There was a moment this summer where there was something that was clearing and I was having a moment and my oversoul came in, Sahariel came in and shared something from when I was a child. And I have tears in my eyes just thinking about it. It was just so incredibly heartwarming. And I had a moment where I was like, wow, you really know me. And it was like so, I don't know. It felt so amazing. Like, wow, you really know me. You've really been with me. You brought something in that only I and my guides would know. And then the way my oversoul shared it and the way my oversoul Sahariel shared it, and then what Sahariel shared afterwards about, what I had learned from that moment and how it connected to this moment. I just felt so incredibly seen and heard. And it was really amazing. The only thing I can say is I just felt like, wow, you really know me. And I didn't have to do anything. I didn't have to show any kind of effort. I didn't have to do anything. Just be. And it was extraordinary. And just so like I can't tell you the tranquility I have um in this experience now and just the feeling of the heartwarming aspect as well. With it though, I want to say though, it's not like I went to bed one night and I woke up and it was like easy peasy, you know, wow, and maybe some people have this kind of experience, which is amazing if you do. But for me, it was many, many aspects of clearing, many, many, um, just meditations and asking like, what is happening now? What does this mean? And asking questions and continuously showing up with the tools again and again and again. And, and it started when I was a child in some ways. But for this year, it started in February when the guides came in and said, okay, February, for the meditate with me, do 2 meditations a day, morning and afternoon. And we're going to be focusing on the nervous system. Didn't really understand why we were so focusing on the nervous system. I thought maybe it was because there's just so much. I thought there's so much going on Earth that this makes sense to focus on the nervous system in terms of the trauma, to support nervous system regulation, and to release from nervous system dysregulation and shift to nervous system regulation. I thought, okay, that makes sense. I did not understand the bigger picture on it until we got into late, into that mid-April, May, when Oversoul Sahariel came through and started sharing. And it was because my nervous system was becoming prepared for that mid-April point in May of when Sahariel was really going to clearly come through. If I didn't do, and it wasn't easy, that February 2025 was not easy in terms of doing 2 meditations a day. And it was morning and evening. And it was all, now I see it was all prep for um, the deeper connection of my relationship with my oversoul. It was not easy though. And so, but if you are interested, then on the Inspiring You Patreon in the Meditate with Me, that February class is up and it's all about basically to support you in terms of the nervous system regulation. But the grander aspect of it is really the prep work for your connection to your oversoul. And then all those classes afterwards, from February, March, April, May, June, July, all those Meditate with Me classes are basically all of them line up to support the connection with your soul and your oversoul in various ways. And it's just been for me, this year has been challenging in a lot of ways, hard at times, difficult, but also profound in a lot of ways that I don't have words on. And just I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. And I just feel such a level of tranquility and peace that moving through it, I'm just so grateful that I stayed with the practices, even when sometimes it felt hard or I don't know why we're doing something and it felt confusing at times. I'm just glad I kept listening to the intuition and kept showing up, in meditation, in dowsing, doing crystalline Reiki meditations, and then also just showing up and doing the other practices as well. So, with that, my friends, if you also have been connecting to your soul and your oversoul and your collective guidance light team in greater ways, I would love to hear from you. And please share with me. I'd also love to hear just in terms of any other practices that have been calling to you or anything else that you want to share about from this year. I would love to hear from you. And with that, my friends, I'm just so grateful for being here and everyone in the community. Thank you so much. So, I will share more techniques and tools about other things that we've been doing this year because some of them have just been really, I don't know. There's a few practices that I was like, wow, that was incredible. So, I will go through them to see which ones, because there's some of them that I do a lot now, and I will share more here on the Inspiring You show as well. All right, so we are complete for now, my friends. Much love. Until soon, and stay inspired.